Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, where we offer first impressions of new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons. We cover up to 20 titles from Dungeon Masters Guild and up to 20 more from DriveThruRPG each week. The titles are presented in alphabetical order by site, and all of them are linked in the video description. Purchasing the books using those links helps the channel, but you can also support us by purchasing one of our best-selling books. We've got lineages suitable for any setting, as well as optional lineage rules in our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. With our Potions Unlocked book, we have over 100 pages of material to take your potions to the next level in your game. Our Feywild Companion offers 150 pages of Feywild fun for players and DMs. Also, our book Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets contains over 50 pages of dragon-themed player options, including a subclass for each class, and much more. Please support the channel by purchasing our books using the links in the video description. Before we talk about this week's new releases, let's talk about our exclusive discount we have on offer this week via Splinterverse Media, all of our social media channels. If you've been paying attention this year, we've decided to give you free content throughout the week, as well as exclusive discounts. So you want to make sure you're following us on all those social media channels. This week, we're offering $1 off the Witch's Wood for the first 50 customers, and I know some have already sold, so you want to make sure you grab this at $1 off if you're interested, and I think you should be, because it sounds so fun and it's a really cool adventure. It says here, the woods are her domain and she will protect them, and it's by Jordan Carmichael and Kathleen Harrington. It's normally $4.95, but we're going to give you that discount to get it down to $3.95. It's 29 pages. And it says a small logging village is coming under attack by animal and plant alike. None can enter the woods safely, except that is for a little girl who can come and go as she pleases. And she seems to have picked up some odd nursery rhymes along the way. It's a really great hook, really fun adventure, can lead to some Feywild fun or other adventures with this cool little girl and other things happening in this story. It's 4 hours long with a party of 4 level 8 characters featuring fey creatures, riddles, games, and just an all-around good time. It's a tier 2 adventure, of course, and you can run it in a single 4-hour session if you want. So it's perfect for like a convention, or you can squeeze it into an ongoing campaign. So it says the PCs have been sent to investigate the small logging town on the outskirts of an old untouched forest. It seems that the loggers have been coming under attack and strange things have been happening around the town. People whisper about hags and curses, but what is the real cause of all the trouble? It's up to the players to find out. So let's take a look inside, and you get to, this adventure is not just combat, it's got role play, it's got exploration, so it's giving you all of those pillars with 5th edition. So you get to see 5 of those pages in the preview, and you can see there's some inspiration. It talks about a comic book that was used as inspiration, and the artist and creator of that comic gave permission to this author to use that, so that's really cool. Here you can see they've got a pronunciation guide, location information, and then of course the adventure itself, and then you've got creatures and magic items. So here's that cool pronunciation guide. I always love when these things are included because I can struggle, as you know, with pronunciation, so that helps me. And then here you go, right into the beginning of the adventure. So they've got the adventure overview, background, and some hooks. So we'll read a little bit of the background. It says the forest of 𝙤𝙤𝙠𝙨 is an old one. The trees here grow tall and mighty and cast deep shadows about themselves, creating a dark and beautiful place. Like many places of such age and beauty, the barriers between the material plane and the Feywild have become thin. On certain days, as the weave winds and shifts, one could easily find oneself walking from one plane to another and not even realize it. It is for this reason that Fionguala, Archfey of the Summer Court, has come to rest here for a time, tending to the woods and the creatures within it. And as is always the case where powerful Fey tread, others follow. 𝘽𝙤𝙢𝙪 has been in these woods for some 200 years. Few mortals tread this far from their cities and towns, and those who do find themselves as often as not wandering the Feywild for a time. However, recently a group of people who claim to be loggers have set up a small logging town on the fringe of the forest. That they would pick this forest is no accident, though, for the individual in charge and his closest allies are treasure hunters who specialize in items and creatures of the Feywild. They search out forests and woods that are closely tied to the Feywild and seek ways to enter so they can steal powerful items or even capture Fey creatures to sell on the black market. This time, though, they appear to have bitten off more than they can chew, as they can barely set foot in the forest before coming under attack by beast and tree alike. This time, they may have to pay some adventurers to do their dirty work for them. But all is not lost. There's one child who seems to have caught the interest of the forest guardian. Perhaps they can make use of her. So yes, I love the setup. I love that this connects to the Feywild. I love this idea of this black market goal of selling stuff from the Feywild, and so there's this logging company, but it's really about something else. You don't see that much, and then you've got the adventurers pulled in nicely because they're going to have to be hired to do the dirty work here. Maybe they don't realize it's dirty work, right? And then you've got this little girl and this archfey and just a lot going on. And like I said, this can tie so easily. You can take them from here into Prismeer. You can take them from here into Dualis or any of the other domains that have been published. And I think it's just really fun. And $3.95 with our special discount for 29 pages is a good deal. So I think you should check it out. Get it before the exclusive number of copies is gone. And it's down in the links in the video description. It should be the first one in the timestamps after introduction. All right, so this week's titles are focused on those that were released between the 17th and the 23rd of February 2022. We've got tons of 5th edition content, including monsters, settings, races, maps, and adventures. So you want to stay tuned all the way to the end so you don't miss a title. First up, we have 12-pack of winter maps from Rowan Studio. And it's only $1 for 14 pages or all the maps, which is really exciting. If you've seen anything by Rowan Studio before, the artwork is just stunning. I'm definitely a huge fan. You can see they present it nicely, and I always love when map packs present a preview of some kind, whether it's a large preview in the catalog description or a preview like this. It helps me have something to show the audience. A lot of times I skip over these maps because there's not much to show, and I only have so much room in the video. So you can see here, I mean, look at this little icy trail through some tundra, and then you've got this cool little village, snow-covered village, and then some interiors, as well as just a little location, and then even some more maps with little houses dotting this icy landscape, and maybe this is like a frozen lake here. Another interior. I mean, just look at all the different choices you're gonna get. I mean, this winding river through the snow. Some are overhead, some are isometric. All of this for only $1. And the author's not even going to get all of that, right? Because you only get about 65 to 70% as an author on DriveThruRPG. So that's a ton of material for $1. You could use it for Rime of the Frost Maiden, any kind of other Arctic adventure you want to have, any other kind of snow adventure, maybe even having this strange blizzard arriving in your campaign setting when it's not normally snowy there. Could be really cool. So check it out. It's in the video description links under 12-pack winter maps, and give it a click. Next we have 13 Weird One-Shots, a Dungeon Age adventure by Joseph R. Lewis and Dungeon Age Adventures. It's $7.99 for 66 pages. It's 5th edition and OSR compatible. Because it includes 2 different PDFs. So you get one that's for OSR and one that's for 5th edition, which I always love when authors give you both for the money. That's really cool. thing. And it says, the ancient world of Hearth withers beneath its dying sun, but it's not dead yet. The land is still riddled, but with villages in danger, cultists and caves, angels gone mad, etc. These 13 adventures span a wide variety of locations, environments, creatures, and genres. They are meant for use as quick play sessions or one-shots to be dropped into campaigns as side quests. These are linear dungeons and mini-quests full of interactivity and strangeness, encouraging exploration, risk-taking, and creative combat. And you can see it covers all the gamut. It's got, low level, one shot, combat, exploration, village, wilderness, subterranean, city, dungeon delve, etc. So 93 unique encounter locations, 69 original magic items, 71 original monsters, 13 maps. I mean, just tons of stuff. And it says each adventure runs 2 to 4 hours in length. And again, I love that you're getting an OSR PDF and a 5th edition PDF. That's huge. Maybe you don't play one of those versions, but you can always play one later if you're not playing it now. So just having it and not having to purchase it, having something right out of the gate. People think about playing these other editions and then they have to go make purchases. Well, if you're purchasing this for maybe you play 5th edition and then later you decide you want to play OSR, you don't have to go make a purchase for your adventures, at least to get started. You just might need to grab your rule set, and there's a lot of OSR rule sets online for free too. So you could be good to go for both here. But yeah, you can see they've got the intro, listing all the different things that are all the different encounters or adventures in here, and each one is just really cool on the layout. You've got some fun artwork. You can see monsters. This particular PDF sample is pretty nice because you're getting to see 23 of those 66 pages. And so you're getting to see a good assortment of, the little monster figures, like here's a drowned troll. And then you're getting to see a lot of these little cutaway maps, which I love cutaways. And each one of these has that. So you can quickly do sort of a linear adventure. You start at 1, and there's only one way to go. It's not like they can get turned around and go to the left or to the right here. Pretty straightforward. So you don't have to railroad or anything. They're just, either they keep going or they stop and leave, right? Those are the two choices. So it makes it pretty easy, especially if you're a newer DM. That can be really easy for you. So I like this, but let's zoom in and read a little bit. So let's find a good intro part here. But I love that they have a lot of items and creatures in here. It feels like everything is here that you need. So you're not going to necessarily have to reference a bunch of other books. So let's look at, there might be giants here. And it's so cool because it starts here and then you've got all these giant swords up here. It says, long ago, Count Wiglaf's band of heroes defeated the immortal giant Grindelwald and chained him under the Joro Mountains. Every 33 years, a swarm of shrikelings come to feed and spawn on the giant's undying body. He roars and shakes, causing earthquakes that frighten the local villagers. Count Wiglaf's magic sword 𝙤𝙤 is still buried in Grindelwald's belly. And then you've got rumors like, the quakes every 33 years without fail. Old Grindelwald is rolling in his grave again. And right after the pale swarm flew up into the mountains, strange times indeed. So you've got all these different little rumors and dialogue, and then flavor text for each of the points of interest on the map. And then it tells you what the danger is there, what treasure's there, if anything. And then here's all the treasure, like a Titan bone maul. This feather-light maul is made from the bones of a sonorous Titan sky whale. It can be wielded with one hand and deals 2d6 bludgeoning damage. Once per day, you can strike the ground to cause vibrations that make all creatures within 30 feet fall prone. Wow, that's cool. And then you've got the monsters here with the drowned troll and Grindelwald himself. Just fun, right? And look at these cutaways are just so cool. I feel like there's a lot packed into this for $7.99, especially again getting 5th edition and OSR. I can't stress that enough, because you can, maybe there's people in your household that play OSR, people that play 5th edition, and if you purchase this, then you have access to both. So really, really think that's cool. So look for it in the video description links under 13 weird one-shots and give it a click. Next, we've got Arctic maps from Carl Terrence Vandal. And it says maps for use with any tabletop RPG. And that's so true of a lot of these maps that we show. You can really use them for any game system. It doesn't have to just be D&D. So keep that in mind when you see these maps. So these are also Arctic. We looked at some other Arctic ones earlier. Now we have these Arctic ones. So you've got Arctic Forest Camp, Arctic River Crossing, Arctic Road, Arctic Rune Tower. It's $250 for the 22 pages. You can also use these commercially if you are a creator like me and you're publishing books and you want to put one of these in your books. You have that option. So let's look inside of the preview here. So lots of options: grid, no grid, night, no grid, etc. And you can see here, here's kind of an encampment. And here's like the night version. And then the bridge over some icy water here. So yeah, lots of options. Again, Rime of the Frostmaiden. Here's like a ruins. You could combine these. I mean, between this and the other maps that we showed, I mean, you have so many Arctic maps between these two products that you could really just have a huge campaign with tons of maps for your VTT software to use with your players. And it's nice that there's so many variations between the no grid, grid, night, etc. In here. And camps are cool too, because if the party decides to rest and you want to have an encounter while they're trying to rest, that's good. Or maybe they come upon an encampment and they have to question somebody there, or maybe they're trespassing and the owners of the land have said, can you go kick these campers out of here? Whatever the reason, you can reuse these maps over and over. And then bonus, if you decide to create something, you can throw one or more into your book. So that's super helpful. And I think it's fun. So check it out under Arctic Maps in the links in the video description and give it a click. Next, we have Battlezoo Bestiary. And it's by Roll for Combat. $25, normally $30. So it's on sale, so you should grab it. Lots of authors, including Stephen Glicker, Patrick Rennie, Mark Seifner, William Fisher, Paul Hughes, and Sean H.H.S. It's 180 pages. So that's a really large supplement, which is nice. And it's got a treasure trove of over 100 brand new monsters for your players to confront and overcome at your next game. The creatures in the epic tome represent the best and beastliest submissions from the 2020 RPG Superstar Contest, including monstrosities like the sailor-snatching muted delver, the spore-sowing fungal raptor, and the mind-melting orb of insanity. And then there's a monster parts system, perfect for monster slayers who want to turn all those freshly collected RDO demon horns and parrot bear feathers into custom items and equipment. And it's completely compatible with Pathfinder 2nd Edition as well as 5e, of course. So it's nice that there's 114 monsters. There was custom crafted and tested with these monsters. So the monster craft system that they've got in here, they've thoroughly tested that. And it's got a quick start guide on that for PCs and GMs. And then there's multiple variations of the monster parts system. Detailed rules on how to gather ingredients, detailed rules on how to refine monster parts into custom weapons, armor, shields, skill items, magic items, and more. Detailed rules on how to imbue your items with over 600 different types of magical powers, 28 unique imbuing categories. Then you've got 3 imbuing subpaths. So you've got magic, might, and technique, character backgrounds, subclasses, the monster mage and the vestige hunter, new magic items, and just a ton more. And you can see here, here's a whole video on it, because this was originally part of a Kickstarter, I believe. And so you've got the monster parts section, monsters A to Z. So everything from the Alnith or Afnith to the, let's see, what's the bottom one? 𝘽𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙬𝙧. And it's cool. It lists all the people who submitted their monsters. And yeah, really fun and beautiful artwork. I'm getting to see 9 of those 180 pages. So there's the Afnith. That's a cool looking artwork there for that. And the 𝘎𝙘𝙘𝙀, which is this little vessel here, it looks like, with all these gemstones around it. So we'll look at that. And the RDO demon and this armor. So you get to see 4 in the previews, full monsters. So let's read about the 𝘎𝙘𝙀 here. It says, as far as an 𝘎𝙘𝙀 is concerned, what goes up must also come down. Charged with protecting and enforcing the laws of gravity, 𝘎𝙬𝙀s are the bane of those who depend too much on magical flight, levitation, or even just magical protections from long falls. Thankfully, for most abjurers and transmuters, 𝘎𝙬𝙀s focus their efforts only on the multiverse's most flagrant or powerful abusers of such gravity-defying powers, such as Proteans, who warp the laws of gravity across an entire plane, or Arcanists, who levitate entire nations. While ruthless in punishing those that defy gravity magically, 𝘎𝙬𝙀s are fascinated by creatures that can glide and fly through physical means. When not pursuing quarry, they can often be found watching birds and other winged creatures soar for hours on end. 𝘎𝙬𝙀s are more inclined to pursue knowledge than most inevitables. They engage in numerous practical experiments and mundane studies regarding the effects of gravity on items of various sizes, shapes, and materials, because they are constantly coming up with new experiments. Most 𝘎𝙬𝙀s keep a wide variety of trinkets and baubles in their small gravity fields. And 𝘎𝙬𝙀 has enough control over its gravitational field that it can use items in its debris field as weapons at close range and strike targets farther away with pulses of concentrated gravity. So, very cool description, nice artwork to go with it. You can see it's got various things like whirling debris and an ability called Bring to Earth. It exerts its will all around it, dispelling powers that flaunt the natural order of gravity. So, fun stuff. Information on, when it's destroyed, what happens, and I mean, just really giving a lot of attention to each of these monsters. They each get their own page filled with information. And then, of course, there's a harvesting system in here as well. So I love all this original art. I definitely want to get a copy. So I'm going to add it to my wish list when I'm done recording the video. But I think you should check it out in the links in the video description under Battlezoo Bestiary and give it a click. Next we have Werecrabs, or Crosshead's Werecrabs, I should say, because it's from Crosshead Studios, and Bert Veerweist and Oz Mills. And I love the artwork on the front. They released another title with this Medusa on the front not too long ago that I featured on the channel, and I ended up getting the print on demand and digital, and it was really well done. I loved how it looked printed as well. And so this one is also printed. It's $4 for the PDF, or you can get a printed copy for $7.95, or both for $9.95, and it's 46 pages. And Crosshead has an active Patreon. It says Werecrabs is a 5th edition adventure designed for 3 to 5 characters of 6th level. In this nautical-themed adventure, a group of adventurers embarks on a treasure hunt across the ocean, but not all is as it seems, as other ships are in hot pursuit and strange creatures from beneath the waves are preparing a trap that might change the lives of the adventurers forever, in more ways than one. Prepare to be boarded, dive down to sunken ships, stop an ancient evil from being unleashed, all in a day's work. So you get original art and map design. All the maps, tokens, and magic items in this adventure were hand-drawn by Crosshead Studios. You get multiple map variations, gridded, non-gridded, all that stuff, ships, underwater, easy customization. You can use it standalone as a 1 or 2 shot adventure. It can be easily adapted into an existing campaign, and of course it's 5th edition. Really cool artwork, and I also really enjoy the layout. It's very clean. You can see here they're using just geometric shapes and just really clean layout, easy to read. Here's the Tusker Lance, which is one of the magic items in the book. Then you got some adventure hooks, and then Act 1. So you get to see 7 of these 46 pages. You got more of the adventure. Then here you can see one of the beautiful maps, and I mean, these are reusable, right? You got to think about your purchases and the reusability, and so I can already see that the maps of the ship, and you can see there's an interior map as well, are going to be reusable. You're going to have many adventures that involve travel by ship, even if it's just from point A to point B and it's not a nautical adventure, you could have a rest take place on one of these maps, right? So really fun. I love that it's got this crest dancer stat block right here for this vehicle, basically. The hull, all of that. I mean, you don't get vehicle stat blocks that much, so that alone makes it really, really worthwhile. And here they're going through all the questions that the players could ask in terms of what's going on. And yeah, I really always just enjoy looking at the layout of this. So let's look at some of the adventure hooks. It says you should introduce the players to the world this adventure is set in. To help with this and give the heroes an impetus to succeed, you should consider one of the following hooks. Some contain secondary characters that you can pepper through the story to create a sense of a larger world. So the first one is Deep Friend Crab. One of the heroes has received a personal letter from a halfling named 𝘎𝙤𝙘𝙀 𝘎𝙤𝙀. It invites them to take part in an exciting treasure hunt event. This friend explains the premise of the repeated treasure hunt competition as in Act 1, but offers a discount coupon. In actuality, 𝘎𝙤𝙀 is now a lycanthrope and is using their connection to the hero to try and entice more people into the tribe. Yes, because there's were-crabs involved in all of this, right? And look at how cool this weapon is. And it says, no cause for alarm. A devout church wishes to hire adventurers. This religious community has discovered that someone in the local area is a lycanthrope, and they want to investigate. Lycanthropy is something their faith does not tolerate. The church tells the players about the local hustler, and that they are probably involved in something shady. Although the church does not know the full extent of their involvement, the church asks the heroes to investigate, but to only act once they know what exactly is going on. So, really fun options. I mean, everything from the church to an in disguise, were-crab, trying to get the players involved, and just lots to see in here. Lots of reusable maps and great prices. Really, for 46 pages, you can get digital and print for $10. And as I said, I bought Crosshead Studios' last title. With both print and demand, and the print looked beautiful, especially since they're doing that minimal layout. I think it really enhances how it looks in print. So nice work. Hope you check it out. It's in the video description links under were-crabs. Give it a click. Next we have Dragon's Hoard number 15, and it's got 16 magic items, 12 spells, 3 new class options, and 5 magnificent monsters. And this is a regular zine. I think it comes out monthly from Legendary Games, 5th edition content, $5.99, 26 pages, lots of authors, including Jason Nelson, Miguel Colon, and others. So it's a monthly anthology, and that means you're going to get a lot of stuff from different creators, items, spells, class options. In this case, it's got the Accursed Witch, Close Quarters Fighter, and College of the Passage. And then marvelous monsters featuring killer creatures across every challenge level, like the hypnotic Gloomwing, the helpful Domovoy, and the deadly Tenebrous Worm. And let's take a look inside. So you've got it goes first into the items, then into the spells, and then of course the rest of it, including subclasses and monsters. So let's look at some of the names. So you got Gloomwing, House Spirits, Tenebrous Worms. So some good stuff there. Here's your intro. You get to see 5 of the 26 pages. So we'll read one of the items here. Circlet of the Imperial Dragon. Sounds like a fun one. So it says this wondrous item rare requires attunement. This reddish jade circlet is formed in the likeness of a coiled dragon biting its own tail and is inlaid with shards of pure dragon horn. While adorned, you are able to speak and understand the draconic language, gain dark vision 60 feet, and immunity to the frightful presence of dragons. As an action once per day, you may activate frightful presence similar to that of a dragon in a 30-foot radius. The save DC of this frightful presence is 8 plus your wisdom and charisma modifiers. The effects continue for a number of rounds equal to your charisma modifier minimum 1. Any creature who fails can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. If you belong to a class which grants key points, you can extend this duration as a reaction by expending 1 key point for each additional round. The construction of this circlet makes you Vulnerable to the mental influence of dragons, however, you suffer disadvantage on wisdom skill checks and saving throws when interacting with them. So that's cool. I like how it makes, key points have another use. So this could be for a monk. It doesn't have to be, but I like that, they're finding ways to repurpose some of those subclass granted resources. And then I like that it has a weakness on it as well. But the artwork on these is all really fun. You've got the Gorthek mask here. And Dragon Slayer's shield, just some fun stuff, and ties in nicely with dragons. So if you're doing a Fizzband thing, or some other dragon game, this could fit in. Although it doesn't have to. I mean, any of this stuff could be found in somebody's loot as well, right? And that's just the magic items. This also has spells, those subclasses, and the monsters. So check it out under Dragon's Hoard 15 in the links below, and give it a click. Next, we've got Eidol, the Endless Dungeon, from E.R.F. Jordan, Sage, Cato Atlas, and Compass Publishing House, 1995 for 5th edition. And it's 180 pages. It says, the world of Eidol is a prison planet constructed by an ancient spacefaring culture to imprison the great goddess Pandora. To keep the goddess's agents at bay, the cube-shaped planet consists of 6 sprawling dungeons, ever changing their layout and contents, a challenge that never ends, luring delvers into the depths of the world in pursuit of treasure, glory, and a wish granted by the maiden of the dungeon herself. It's got a new system for building fleshed out characters, replacing races with ancestries, cultures, and secrets. A new Eidol-themed subclass for all 12 classes. 6 joinable factions to fill your campaign with intrigue and conflict. The Delve system, a simple low prep way to run mega dungeons on the fly. A detailed gazetteer of all 6 major regions of the planet. 20 magic items, 12 spells, 3 feats, and lots of equipment. 60 stat blocks, including creatures and NPCs. So really cool that it has so much stuff. I mean, that's a lot of stuff in here. For 1995, a lot of pages, 180 pages, and I love the concept of this 6-sided world with all these shifting mega dungeons, and that it's giving you the support to run these mega dungeons on the fly, and all sorts of factions and subclasses and just goodness fill in this book. So you can see they have some inspiration listed here. I like when authors do that. So everything from movies like Annihilation and Howl's Moving Castle to video games like Bloodborne and Darkest Dungeon. And then here's your table of contents. Who are you? What are you? Who are you with? I like how they're phrasing each of these with questions, including you've got a bunch of NPCs and creatures. And so you got the introduction. What is it? You get to see 20 of those 180 pages, the people and the languages, a timeline. That's always helpful. And then here's where you go into, creating your ancestry, because a lot of third-party publishers are now kind of swapping out the race system. It's been a problematic system for wizards. So a lot of publishers are taking different stabs at it, which I applaud. I think that's great. So you got the Dream Domain for the Cleric. Sounds fun. And Circle of the Dead for the Druid. Demolitionist for Fighters. Monk is Way of the Drake. So yeah, you get to see a ton of the subclasses. You get the whole introduction. So lots to preview here. Read on your own. So let's read a little bit about this. When considering the infinite dungeons of Eidol, a natural question arises. If the engineers didn't want delvers to try and free Pandora, why did they fill the dungeon with replenishing treasure? Adventurers and scholars alike have several theories. Pandora herself places the treasures there, perhaps unknowingly, to lure delvers into freeing her. The dungeon learns from its mistakes, and the engineers included treasure to encourage delvers to explore the dungeon and perfect the system. The prison has interpreted treasure as essential to a dungeon's existence, so when it pulls projections from the cosmos, it brings treasure with them. Very cool. All 3 of those sound reasonably good in terms of explanations for why this might be happening, so I applaud that. I think it's well written. And it says 6 phases 5 depths. At its simplest, Eidol is a cube. It has 6 faces: the Scarred, the Molten, the Boreal, the Vast, the Umbral, and the Chasm. Each face is split into 2 rough domains. Above, a vast landscape filled with wilderness, punctuated by small settlements, and below, a dynamic dungeon of monsters and other obstacles. Below each face lies 4 depths, 5 counting the surface, each more dangerous than the last. By the design of the engineers, the exact contents of these 30 or so sections are in constant flux, using the goddess's own essence to randomize their traps and denizens. This mechanism served 2 purposes: to foil those who would free the goddess, such as the celestials drawn to her light, and to ensure that even the engineers themselves had no way out of the prison. Each of the and then they describe each of them. Projections. To populate its labyrinthine depths, Eidol magically draws from existing creatures, objects, traps, puzzles, and even particular people from across the multiverse. Using this knowledge, the dungeon creates projections, an echo of the original thing that's real enough to hurt, deceive, and otherwise impede delvers, but not so real that it has goals or desires independent of the dungeon. Projections can't leave Eidol below, and they think of nothing but foiling delvers. While a projection's body is corporeal, it disappears when it leaves Eidol below or when the dungeon changes each month. So that's a really cool story mechanism, because then you can bring in things from your campaign. You can bring random things from supplements. Maybe there's a supplement you own that has like 1 character and 1 item in it that you like, but you don't like the rest of it. Well, you can throw them in here, because you can justify it by saying, well, they're projections of, whatever from Waterdeep or whatever from here, from Ravenloft or whatever, even other third-party locations. So I really think it's a brilliant concept. I definitely want to get a copy at some point. It looks so cool, and it's very visual with the projections and the 6-sided world with all these dungeon levels. I think it's really a good concept, and it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun with a lot to offer that you can reuse elsewhere, because there's going to be all these magic item spells, feats, subclasses as well that you can use outside of the world of Eidol itself. So check it out in the video description links under Eidol and give it a click. Next, we have Extreme Encounters Earth from MageGate. And as you know, they're doing a series of weather and terrain books, and they've covered a lot of them so far. I think this is the 3rd one potentially, but they're releasing them on a pretty aggressive schedule, and it's cool because that's fleshing out your opportunities for hazards, environment, terrain, weather, all that good stuff. And this particular one is $3.99 for 28 pages, and it says create earthquakes and forest, mountain, and underground monster layers in minutes. Enjoy quick, easy templates to spice up encounters, travel, and especially boss fights with earth elementals, dragons, hags, hill or stone giants, as well as campaigns featuring forest creatures or monsters that live in hills or mountains or deep underground. So you get environment rules as well as new monsters and treasure ideas for Chaos of Creation, which is a magical terrain, cave complex, non-magical terrain, chasm or cliff, earthquake, forest, hills or mountains, mine shaft, mud or clay, or quarry. And there's options to increase the threat level. So very cool, and it's for 5th edition, of course. Let's look inside. So you get to see 8 of those 28 pages. It talks about the rules of how to use these different terrains, etc. And then you get to read one of them, the Chaos of Creation. So let's read about that. It says, this magical terrain is a deadly, ever-shifting mix of earth, stone, and wood in all its forms. Sand, clay, stone, mud, and wood. It may be the work of a congregation of earth elementals, or the byproduct of druids, dwarves, elves, fey, gnomes, giants, trents, or trolls, or it could be the result of a relic or artifact installed and activated here. It radiates conjuration magic. The area of effect can be any, usually confined to a cave, complex, forest, hill, or mountain. And you can have an expanded area of effect if you wish to expand it beyond the original borders. You can expand it by 90 feet per minute or 1 mile per hour. You can make a DC 10 perception check to recognize the transition from normal to difficult terrain. And, they go through all the categories: dispelling, difficult, all that stuff. it says, no safe space. If you do not move at least 5 feet for every round you spend in this terrain, you take 1d6 bludgeoning damage. As your square is either pummeled by adjacent debris or filled with new debris, you can move back to your original square on your next turn. The only thing that matters is you can't stay put. Whenever you take damage from any source, you must make a DC 15 dex save or be knocked prone. For every round you spend moving through the terrain, you suffer 1 level of exhaustion unless you succeed on a con saving throw. And then there's all kinds of impacts on the different types of magic. I mean, this is 2 pages on this terrain, and that's not even all of them. There may be more pages on it because we can't see the next page. So really detailed, lots of options to explore. And it's part of an ongoing series. We've covered air and acid, I think, were the first 2 that we covered. So if you get all of them, then no matter what type of terrain you go into or what type of damage types you're dealing with, you're going to have magical hazards, terrains, weather, etc. that you can unleash on your players. And I think that's great, especially because, people might be going into other planes, and having this available to kind of make it seem otherworldly is really cool. So check it out under Extreme Encounters in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got the Game Master's Assistant 2, another collection of quick roll tables for your favorite fantasy role-playing game. And it's by Lucky Dice Games and Stephen Chabot. And, even though it says here Pathfinder First Edition, it's really looking at the preview. It can be used by any fantasy role-playing game. So OSR, D&D 5th Edition, or other editions, whatever you want. Because it's got more than 80 quick roll and idea-inspiring tables to help you create encounters, describe objects, build NPCs, add depth to your descriptions, and much more. Each table can be mined for ideas, and in many instances can be used as random roll tables to quickly give you details without needing to make a time-intensive decision. You can let the tables do the heavy lifting and concentrate on spinning a tale. So looking at it, I saw already some really fun stuff, and you get to see 13 of the 112 pages when you click on the preview. But you can see here, this whole section is focused on graveyard stuff, everything from the name of the graveyard, the decorations of the catacombs, and then a whole section of what you find in crypts and mausoleums, like the condition of the corpse, the coffin quality, common crypt and cemetery locations, crypt decorations, crypt security, odd things found in a coffin, corpses found in commoners' graves, rich people's corpses, odd crypt descriptions, graveyard encounters, sarcophagi descriptions, and that's just the graveyard section. And then you go into environments with caves, dungeon names, forest names, etc., towns, bake shop names, blacksmith names. I mean, just tons of tables. I love tables. I love random tables. I don't always use the result, but I like them because they give me inspiration. Like, they start me down the path of thinking about like graveyard names or whatever, and then eventually I develop my own, right? So you can see here's the list of graveyard names. So the first one is Angel Watch Graveyard, and then you've got Moonshadow Crypts, Shadow Cemetery, Snowfall Cemetery, Ocean Hill Graveyard, Eternal Light Cemetery. I mean, just appropriate names for cemeteries. And then you've got your catacomb decorations. So the first one is piles of bones are haphazardly shoved into all the carved recesses in this room, at least 3 to 4 bodies worth for each recess. And then down here it says, as you enter the catacombs, torches along the walls suddenly light. After a few seconds, you realize that the torches have ignited channels of oil that seem to be burning towards a central structure that looks suspiciously like a giant-sized barrel of oil. That could be dangerous. And that's just 2 of the descriptions. And then you've got your corpse conditions here, your coffin quality, 12 options for coffin quality, crypt decorations, everything from a water fountain to glyphs to protect the crypt from desecration. And we've just gone through some of the graveyard stuff in this preview. And like I said, there's all this other stuff for towns, necromancers, angry mobs, curses, towers, wells. I mean, this book is really covering a lot in its 112 pages. I would love to get a copy of it. So I think if you DM or you want inspiration as a writer, or you play a multitude of games that could benefit from all these ideas, I think you should grab it. It's under Game Master's Assistant 2 in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Lord Trimalkes from 𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙧𝙀, and it is a cool looking cover here, focused on this NPC for 5th edition, and it's a suggested price of $1 on Pay What You Want for 6 pages. And I love that this whole book is dedicated to one NPC. You don't really see that very much, and I think we need more of that. I think really giving people in-depth descriptions of characters is always helpful for DMs and for people who just like to read this stuff. Sometimes people buy this stuff and they never DM, but they just enjoy reading it, right? And so this is a part of a series called The Free City of 𝙁𝙗, and it says, Lord Trimalkes is the richest and yet least successful nobleman in the free city of 𝙁𝙗. Lord Trimalkes is the last living scion of an ancient noble house of the Caliph Valley. Rather than waste his youth in debauchery and drink, Trimalkes spent his time learning history and studying foreign cultures and languages. Included is a brief history of the free city, description and stat block of Trimalkes, and there's advice for incorporating Trimalkes into your campaign. And so 𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙧 is doing a bunch of stuff with this free city, which is cool. I love urban stuff, so I'm excited that there's a whole campaign that 𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙧's got going on for the city. 6 pages visible, so you get to see the whole book in the preview, which is super nice. So you can read the whole thing. But yeah, here's the background on Lord Trimalkes with the stat block, and then here's some information on the city, using him in your campaign, of course the license. But yeah, let's read a little bit about it. Okay, so we've got his family is distantly related to the House of Delivas, the family of Prince 𝙤𝙤𝙘, 𝙤𝙗𝙗's patrician. They own much of the city's best real estate. Trimalkes himself is half elven, more precisely is 1/16 elvish. His great-grandmother was the sister of 𝘽𝙤𝙘, the chieftain of the river elves that dwell in the forest-rich regions of Caliph Rem in the northern valley. Rather than waste his youth in debauchery and drink, Trimalkes spent his time learning history. We read that already. Unfortunately, his social skills didn't keep pace with his acquisition of knowledge, and he is not well liked either by members of his own aristocratic class or those him paid for their friendship, or at least its trappings. A sheltered youth made him arrogant, pompous, and prideful, which hasn't endeared him to others in society. On several occasions, including during the rule of the apocalyptic cult, the hegemons of the Pearl, Trimalkes has offered his expertise to 𝙁𝙗's authorities as a diplomat to any of several distant courts. That no one has taken his talented man up on his offer is a testament to his unlikability. This has only made Trimalkes, thank you, Lord Trimalkes, even more bitter and socially distant. So yeah, this guy's got some challenges, and he's a CR2, and cool little stat block here. You get all the information on adding him to your campaign down here. And like I said, it's Pay What You Want. So, and you can read the whole book before you purchase. So I think that's really helpful. And it seems like this campaign is going to be a fun, interesting one from 𝙤𝙤𝙬𝙧. So I'm excited to see what's next. And I think you should check this out under Lord Trimalkes in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we got The Last Sky Market from Night Owl Odysseys. It's an adventure, $4 for 13 pages for 5th edition. It says, the day of the annual Sky Market Festival has arrived. People have gathered from all over to behold the city on the back of a giant flying turtle. However, as the day wanes on and the great turtle is nowhere to be seen, it's clear something is amiss. So I love that intro. And you can see here some gorgeous artwork inside. It's for average party level of 3. And it says 46 characters of 1st to 4th level. And these are some of the maps. Look at these floating little islands here. Looks fun. So it works perfectly with your VTT. It's got 4 new monsters, 2 custom battle maps, 3 magic items, and 2 musical tracks. And here's a little YouTube preview you can watch as well. Beautiful design and artwork. And we don't have a preview we can read anything from, but that's okay because we get to see all of this cool stuff so that we can we can at least see that there's going to be some valuable maps and music, etc. in here. So I hope you check it out. It's under Lost Sky Market in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Mimic Tamers from Diego Pisa Artworks. It's $6.50 for 66 pages. And it says it includes short stories, adventure hooks, and variant mimic creatures, such as a mimic spellbook, mimic wagon, mimic inn, and others, as well as the mimic tamer ranger subclass. So you get a whole subclass devoted to mimics, which is cool. And look at this fun artwork inside. So you've got your introduction, including mimic anatomy and behavior. Then you've got some mimic tamers, musical instrument, adventure hooks. So, and then you've got your stat blocks for as well as the mimic tamer ranger subclass, the background, a summon mimic spell, and then some items, even just everything mimic in here, which I think is really cool. You got introduction. Here's one of the characters, looks like. So we'll read a little bit about that. Let me zoom in. Oops. So it says Moresto Philbrook, and it's got a little short story here. While dangerous, mimics are not considered as vicious as they should be. This happens because, I must admit, they are among the most skilled strategic hunters I have ever met. They stay still for days, resisting the hunger gnawing at them, only to seize the advantage at the best moment when the prey is distracted and the attack is certain. Mimics do not innately know all the best objects to copy. They learn by trial, error, and observation the best object to become in order to more easily surprise and devour the victims within their own environment, associating and building a pattern of behavior. If a mimic reaches adulthood, it means that it is intelligent enough to remain hidden, isolate its prey, finish its meal, and resume its object form, or run away and transform into something else if there are too many traces leading to it. So fun read here. If you're a fan of mimics, you like all that stuff. Mimics, you see a lot of them as dice holders and things like that out there. So they're a very fun creature associated with Dungeons and Dragons for sure. This book is going to be filled with mimic stuff for you. So I think it's worth grabbing because you're going to get that subclass, you're going to get that lore, you're going to get those stat blocks for all these different types of mimics. So pick it up. It's in the links under Mimic Tamers. Give it a click. Next, we've got Pain of a Broken Heart, a Valentine's Day themed adventure by Elvin Tower. It's a level 7 adventure, mid-tier one-shot, on sale for $1.95 for 14 pages. It tells the story of Madeline Luna. She was once a fair and beautiful woman, but one day she seduced the wrong man and angered his sorceress wife. A curse turned her into a fiend, a succubus. The foul incantation makes her crave the love of a person, but the fiend inside her murders all those she loves. It is a horrible condition. For decades she has roamed the world looking for a way to end this without success. A few months ago she reached yet another city in her countless travels. There a man named Thomas Gartney fell in love with her, but he didn't flinch nor felt fear when she told him the truth. He was willing to help her, and he did. Together they have worked for weeks to develop a cure. Thomas understands she must see other people and kill them to quench her murderous desires. This keeps him alive. Furthermore, the only magic Madeline knows is necromancy. The souls and blood of living subjects is needed for their plans to work. The many people she has killed has drawn too much attention. Will they be able to fulfill their plans and see their love thrive? So cool concepts. You can see it's got a heart-shaped dungeon, which is fun. This very Valentine's-like adventure, but it doesn't have to be. It can be run anytime, but you can see the layout is really nice. All kinds of artwork. Elvin Tower always includes really nice layout and artwork. You get to see 8 pages of the 14, so over half, and you got your introduction, and then right into the primer of the adventure and the features. And then here's that wonderful looking heart-shaped dungeon. I love that. And then some of your characters here. So let's read a little bit about the dungeon. We'll zoom in here. Oops. Madeline's guardians, 5 sarcophagi, hug the walls of this irregularly shaped chamber. Decrepit, sharp-clawed hands remove the heavy lids. The dead growl ferociously. So the 5 ghasts in this chamber react to any living creature entering the dungeon. Madeline's magic charms those interred in the mausoleum even after their deaths. They protect Madeline and fight intruders until slain. And it says there are 340 GP worth of small pieces of silverware, gems, and other trinkets in the sarcophagi. So that's right here. And then you proceed into the rest of this heart-shaped dungeon until you get to the exit here, it looks like. Oh, no, that's actually right here. I read it wrong. So this is the start, and it goes all the way through to here. But that's fun. I mean, look at that. This looks like the final areas in here. 15 maybe. But yeah, it looks fun. I love the heart-shaped, cool artwork for the characters. We got Madeline Luna and Thomas Gartney. Yeah, lots of fun, beautiful artwork, nice layout, cool concept. You could have a lot of fun with this. You could even weave this in, like, you know, because people are dying. If you have a base camp city for your party, you could have people going missing, dying, etc., and then later work them into this adventure, having them kind of discover that, hey, there's this lady behind it, the succubus, and deal with it at that point. So very cool. Check it out under Pain of a Broken Heart in the links below. Give it a click. Next we've got PG3, A Player's Guide to Alfdaín for Calidar, by Bruce Hurd and Calidar Publishing. You can get it for $2.90 for the PDF, which is super low price, and you can get it combined with the PDF and print edition for only $10.99 to get a print version. And it's compatible with all the different versions of Dungeons and Dragons. It's 28 pages, and that's because this is really, you know, player information, background information on the region. So it's not a lot of mechanical stuff. It's mostly focused on players having an understanding of the world, so that's cool. It says it goes with the CAL3 Alfdaín Ascendant book, expanding Calidar Series 3 collection. It offers the players basic information on Alfdaín's land, people, and history. The bulk of the guide focuses on the elves, with up to 7 sub-races, each with unique natural abilities and character class adaptations. The last chapter is written in the style of the Traveler's Brochure, touching upon currency, places to see or shop, local news, and yearly festivals. Maps of Alfdaín and its capital city are included in the printed book. The street map is also offered in digital format, along with the book's PDF file at a full 300 DPI. And I think this is really cool. I mean, it looks like it does have some mechanics as far as the races go, but it has some areas that are basically system agnostic. But what I love about this is Bruce Hurd worked on the original Gazetteers for Mystara, for Dungeons and Dragons back in the day, and is now building Calidar, this really fun world. And at some point I want to get all the soft covers so I can read through those and really enjoy it. But it's just so cool. I mean, the artwork is just really nice, and I just love that someone behind all of that great fun reading material I had back in the day for Mystara is now creating a whole new world. And you know, I've looked through some of it, and it's really, really well done. I mean, look at these maps. It takes you back, because it's very similar to, but improved, I would say, on the Mystara maps. The Mystara maps were a little hard to look at for a long period of time, because they were kind of pixelated, if you will. I mean, in terms of how blocky they were. This is a little bit more natural looking, which I like. So you got all your table of contents here. So the preface, a bird's eye view, and looks like there's a QR code you can scan as well to see some stuff. And then you've got the land of the people. And then again, another gorgeous map. And this is just 4 of those 28 pages. And you can get all this printed, right? For only $11, you can get a printed version of this that you can flip through and look at it. So, you know, I'm really tempted by the combo of digital and print for these books. And one of these days I will have to get them. But says here, what is Alfdaín? Largely populated by elves, Alfdaín is an alliance of 3 sovereign realms, the matriarchy of Andalín, the kingdom of Lithriel, and the Republic of Pharos. Each possesses its own capital. The alliance's siege, however, was established in Andalín's administrative center in recognition for the matriarchy's lead in wrenching independence from Alleria, the elves' native moon. Alfdaín counts several large cities, including fabled Mithuen, the beating heart of Andalín. Most people otherwise live in the villages bearing their clans' names, usually near lakes, rivers, and seashores. Relationships between clans of uneven clouts reflect tangled webs of rivalries and allegiances, complicated by distant kinships with their forebears on Alleria. Few foreign visitors fathom at first sight the complexities of Alfdaín society, given the variety of clan motivations and elven ancestries underpinning politics of the realm, secret societies scheming behind the curtains, and simmering conflict with Alleria add another layer of uncertainty felt in the forests and cities' streets. So what I love about this is most D&D supplements are all these different races and cultures mixed together, which is fun, but sometimes it's nice to deep dive and see the politics within one of these cultures, right? And so Alfdaín is really diving deep into the elven stuff, right? You can see all the different clans and how they have varying levels of clout. And I like that complexity because real life is complex. It's not just a simple like, well, that's where the elves live and this is where the dwarves live and that's it, right? No, it's a lot more than that. And you can see this map here kind of really deep dives into it as well. And it just looks so beautiful. So I think you need to check it out under PG3 in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Ponyfinder, Races of Everglow. So this one contains rules for 5th edition, plus Pathfinder 1, plus Pathfinder 2, it looks like. So all kinds of stuff available for you if you like ponies, played Ponyfinder before, or you like My Little Pony, or anthropomorphic characters. I mean, this is really going to be well suited for you. It's from Silver Games LLC. PDF is $19.99, but you can get the softcover for $39.99 or the hardcover for the same price, or combos for $41.99. And it's 222 pages, so that's a lot of pages, and it's really cool. It says it's easy to be distracted by the colorful ponies that have laid dominion over the world of Everglow, but they are far from the only race that has carved out their own portion of things and demands recognition. From the whimsical flutter ponies to the despised impure, these lesser races are given a chance to be known, from social mores to combat abilities. So there's 10 races, either new or expanded. And then you've got all kinds of stuff listed here. So you've got 𝘽𝙤🡄, griffins, Punda, Krava, Steelhearts, Suncats, etc. And then there's some bundles that you should consider as well if you're new to Ponyfinder and you want to get all the Ponyfinder stuff. Like they even have a complete print version bundle, which is nice. So really cool. Let's take a look inside. So you get to see 6 of those 222 pages. So it goes into the Cloven, the Flutter Ponies, the 𝘽𝙤🡄, etc. And all just fun, playful art throughout. Like I said, if you like My Little Pony or just, anthropomorphic stuff, you're going to really enjoy the art no matter what. And then Living with Hooves and Paws here. So many of the races presented in this book lack the basic features of humanoids' fingers. Here are the rules reprinted from the core campaign book for your convenience. So it talks about how you deal with the fingerlessness. It says hand and ring covering magic items automatically adjust to fit, becoming anklets that otherwise function normally. Any worn magical foot items, boots, shoes, etc., adapt to cover all 4 extremities. Those with hooves may use horseshoe items, but doing so occupies the hooves, preventing boots, shoes, and other such things. Creatures may use items with their mouth as if their primary hand. Abilities requiring touch can be made with paws, talons, hooves, or horn. etc. So it's nice that they're also giving you all the rules for how to adapt, because ponies aren't going to have fingers, right? So you do need help figuring all that out. But I love Ponyfinder. I think it's fun. I know lots of My Little Pony fans, bronies, etc. And I think it's just really cool and fun. So I think you should look for it in the video description links under Ponyfinder and give it a click. Next, we have The Rise of the Salamander from the DM Layer by Luke Hart. It's $2.99 for 22 pages. It says, flames are the calling card to adventure. Often they are the herald of battle and the siren of doom, beckoning to adventurers to put on their boots, strap on their blades, and stride out the door. Sometimes those flames have a sinister origin, coming from an evil place as vile and as dark as the flames are hot. When that happens, what emerges from those flames can threaten an entire plane. But will there be adventurers who can stop it? The Rise of the Salamander is a 5th edition compatible adventure designed for a party of 4 to 6 level 5 characters. It features read aloud text and digital maps for VTT. And so let's take a look inside. So you get information on running the adventure, the locations, background, all the different episodes all the way through 9, and then you've got your conclusion and interaction chart at the end. And you get to see 10 of those 22 pages here. So you got your Game Master notes, your locations, people, and then look at that cool map of like a ruined, burning place. I love that there's active fires on the map. You don't always see that other than maybe like a campfire. And then an investigation area with a large read aloud. So let's read that one for you. Flames billow from a second-story window. Smoke fills the street with nauseating ash. Screams of pain and horror erupt from the window. A face burning, flesh sloughing away from bone in the flames, appears in the window, screaming in terror. A second figure, almost dwarven, moves through the fire, seemingly unimpeded and unaffected. Guards carrying buckets of water rush toward the house, haplessly trying to extinguish the blaze. Seemingly seconds later, the entire house is engulfed. The flames are intense, and heat is felt hundreds of feet away. Nobody dares approach. All merely look in horror as lives are lost and the home turns to ash. 10 long minutes later, the flames begin dying, their intense heat fading into nothingness. Smoke and ash continue billowing from the ground. Nothing but ash seems to remain of the house that once stood. Several figures seem to move through the destruction, a dwarf-like creature among them. The guards from far down the street rush to the scene. They're shouting and running, their leader eagerly barking orders to relieve the exhausted guards who were already on scene. A moment later, the smoke parts for the briefest of moments, revealing the dwarf in full view, his body engulfed in flames, and the other creatures turning to flee from the oncoming guards. So yeah, what's up with this dwarf? What's going on? You're going to find out as you investigate this. But it looks like there's some methods involved. Yeah, it looks really fun. Like the maps, like the layout and the artwork. Yeah, good stuff. If you're in need of an adventure and some maps, I think this could be a really good option for you. So check it out under Rise of the Salamander in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have Tunnels of the Scarlet Rat, an adventure for first level characters with this really beautiful cover with all these kobolds on it. It's by Gray Fisher and David Dean. It's $7.95 for 64 pages. It says, welcome to Michaelmas, finest city for 100 miles. But lately, the people of the outer city have been facing two rising threats. A crime gang led by someone named the Scarlet Rat, has been harassing citizens and exerting control over their lives. Meanwhile, kobolds are increasingly raiding supplies and making nighttime travel dangerous. The outer city needs help, but the city guard doesn't have the strength to stop the problems. So it's an immersive adventure that takes players from level 1 to level 3. It's got 10 new monsters, including 6 new types of kobolds, 5 magic items, 30 NPCs, and of course a bunch of illustrations. So let's look inside. So you get to see 8 of those 64 pages. So it goes into the location of Michaelmas with shops, taverns, inns, all that good stuff. and including the outer and inner city and the kobold safe house. And then you've got the other places that you go to, the hideouts and things, and then ending the adventure. And then magic items, monsters, including kobold archers, engineers, and pike bearers, ratkins, and semi-elite warriors. And then you've got tables and maps and quest cards. And then you got your introduction, more artwork, nice map of Michaelmas, lots of read aloud text too, as well as artwork, so that's helpful. Let's zoom in and read some stuff for you. So here's some adventure hooks. Honor. The party can seek to do the best thing and solve the logical problems for the people. If so, the DM can guide them to a local inn or tavern outside the city walls where they overhear grumbling about having to deal with both a new crime gang and kobolds. Focus on pleas for help from locals. A good place to begin this is with Minty at the Part and the Parcel, which is one of the locations. Alternatively, the party can be attacked by the kobolds and are pushed around by rat henchmen, afterward providing a personal stake in solving the problem. And then another hook would be fame. The party can seek to make a name for themselves as adventurers. If so, they can read a sign posted outside the guard post at the Dragon Gate, or the DM can start the players at the local Lords Alliance chapter house and use success as a way to earn entrance into that order. And that's just a couple options, but all of those sound good. I like that there's two forces at work, these kobolds and this rat gang, and a whole location that you can reuse. Again, you can reuse these factions, you can reuse even that order that you can join. You can reuse the city, you can reuse this map. I mean, tons of stuff in here for the price. And I mean, kobold stat blocks, those are always going to be helpful, right? Having different kobold options. So I think you should look for it under Tunnels of the Scarlet Rat in the links below and give it a click. Next, we have Weeby Dragons from Jeff Gomez and Zenith Games. And it's, even though it has Pathfinder on the cover, this is the 5th edition version. It says, in Weeby Dragons, the players control dragon wormlings out to avenge the genocide of their families. And they struggle to save their adopted father against an assassination attempt, work with humans to locate the killer, and take on both a poaching company and a fallen paladin obsessed with the extinction of all dragons. There's 9 new playable dragons that combine the aspects of a classic adventuring party with true draconic flavor. It's a one-shot adventure, and it's just a nice break because you're getting to play as dragons for a change instead of normal characters. There's a complex adventure, 7 new enemies, challenging social encounters, and rules for adjusting difficulty, as well as 9 new playable dragon characters inside. So, lots on offer. Get to see 4 pages out of the 24 in the preview. So, the adventure background summary, adjusting difficulty, and then here's the introduction with some read aloud text. And you've got Elbin, a medium humanoid stat block here. So, we'll read this intro. Read aloud text. It says, 15 years ago, a paladin by the name of Balthazar Beric made it his quest to purge dragons from the realms of man. After each glorious victory, he destroyed the dragon's unhatched eggs to prevent a draconic resurgence. Balthazar's squire, a halfling named Elbin, felt pity for the unborn young and hid 9 eggs from Balthazar's wrath. When Balthazar discovered his squire's betrayal, Elbin fled into the woods and raised the dragons on his own. You are the result of Elbin's mercy. 9 dragons from exterminated bloodlines raised as brothers and sisters of a single clutch. Your home is 𝘎𝙤𝙬, a cabin built in the deep woods and far from prying eyes. Elbin is your father and leader, protective of his children and wise beyond his years. You have lived as a family for a decade and half in isolation from the world. However, 𝘎𝙤𝙬 is not as safe as secluded as it used to be. Due to recently constructed inn and trade route mere miles from your home, Elbin sent some of your brothers and sisters deeper into the wilds to search for a new place to live. Elbin knows that unless you move soon, trouble will follow. Today began as any other, with a morning hunt. You quickly catch and kill a deer, then head back to 𝘎𝙤𝙬 before the sun rises more than a few inches from the horizon. As you approach the cabin, however, you immediately realize something is wrong. Blood drips from a splatter on the door. One window is shattered, and smoke emanates from another. Your father is nowhere to be seen. So I like this. It's really bringing you into the world, getting you into that headspace of being a dragon. I love the story that there was 9 eggs, and so you're one of those 9 that is now going to go through this adventure. So it's really well written. I like the concept. I think it could be a lot of fun and a great break from playing as humanoids. So check it out in the video description under Weeby Dragons and give it a click. Well, that's our last drive-through title for the week. We're going to move on to DM's Guild, but before we do, please make sure to follow me on social media at Splinterverse. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. You can find me, and we've got all this free content we're giving out throughout the week: trinkets, little D6 tables, plot hooks, and polls, discounts, exclusive discounts every Monday. And then, of course, on Fridays, we present this video series to you. And at the end of this video, we're going to talk about our exclusive discount for next week. So you want to make sure you stay tuned for that. Please subscribe to the channel. Like the video, share the video out there. We're very close to monetization. We just need less than 100 hours of people watching. So if you can make sure to watch the full video or play it in the background, whatever, to get some hours watched. And get it out there to your friends so we can get some more eyeballs on these great titles that we talk about every week. Speaking of great titles we talk about, be sure to click all those links in the video description. Support these creators, purchase their books, comment, leave reviews, follow them, all that good stuff. And if you purchase any book on these sites after you click those links, we're going to get a small percentage that comes back to the channel and the affiliate program, which really helps us. And if you want to take it further, you can purchase one of the 5 books Splinterverse Media released in 2021. Those are also listed in the video description links. We've got the Feywild Companion, which is available in print on demand or digital, and it's got everything you need for the Feywild, including a brand new Domain of Delight, subclasses, adventures, spells, you name it, it's in there. Then we've got Potions Unlocked, print on demand or digital, with everything you could ever want for potions, including short stories for all the legendary and new potions that are in that book, and fully detailed locations, NPCs, vendors, etc., and optional rules. Then we've got Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, tons of dragon-themed stuff, everything from subclasses, familiar adventure hooks, Dragon Hoard items. Those just came out, and we've got Draconic Gifts and Hoard items to go along with what you get from the Fizban's Treasury, so you have more options. Then we've got Van Richten's Libram of Lineages, which goes into lineage options as well as some cool lineages, and the Secrets of the Draugr, a brand new race. So lots of stuff for you to check out. So give those links a click as well. See if any of them work for you. We've got something at almost every price point, so hopefully you'll find something you like. All right, now on to DM's Guild. Our first DM's Guild title this week is Barovia Gazetteer, the Amber Temple, from Mark Singer, $2 for 14 pages. It presents a series of location guides for running Curse of Strahd. These guides are designed to augment the existing campaign with background information, character profiles, additional encounters, and scenario hooks, as well as tips for running the game. The goal is to create a rich, immersive Barovian setting that feels authentic and internally consistent without sacrificing the horror. So the Amber Temple covers 2 locations, including Tosalinka Pass and the Amber Temple. A wealth of background and information and resources, including a step-by-step guide to every stage of the expedition, a random encounter table for the mountains, weather rules and environmental hazards, guides to the rooms, traps, NPCs, and events in the Amber Temple, a redesigned library with a new combat encounter, new rules for dark gift corruption that make the transformations gradual and terrifying, and a new stat block for Zengzor, along with stats for every other creature that has been added to the guide. So helping you, expand your Curse of Strahd, giving you some additional options, and I'm sure some of this material could be used elsewhere in Ravenloft. It doesn't necessarily have to be in Barovia or even the Amber Temple, so keep that in mind as well. You get to see 4 of those 14 pages in the preview here. And so we've got random encounters, travel and map scale, expedition to the mountain peaks, preparations, as well as what you do in each of the stages. So you get to see a good chunk of this stuff. So zooming in, looking at the random encounters here, they've got everything from berserkers. These mountain folk are less hostile than their distant kin from Yesterhill. They try to remain hidden and observe the party from a distance, attacking only if trapped or threatened. If they are interrogated or coaxed with the offer of food, they will warn the party of the dangers beyond Solinka Pass, especially the rock and Sangzor. And then the Bloodhorn goats. These large, ill-tempered goats are part of the Sangzor's tribe. Each one is a giant goat with 33 hit points. The goats are territorial and highly aggressive, but they will flee if they are reduced to 16 hit points or less. And you've got vampiric mists and other things here. And then it goes through each of the stages of the expedition. It says the first leg of the trip will cover familiar ground as the party travels to turn off near the Raven River crossroads. If the group has previously encountered Red Lucas and his gang of undead highwaymen, this would be an ideal time for a final confrontation. You may not need to run any encounters during the stage. If the party has killed or made peace with the werewolf pack, destroyed Red Lucas and his gang, and cleared the other threats along the old Svalich road, they have earned a safe trip. At a certain point in the game, it's important to recognize that the characters have grown, give them a sense of accomplishment, and move on to the next challenge. It's so true. And also, if you're trying to control the level at which they are, you throw in too many random encounters, and they're going to get past the level that you want them to be at, right? So you got to kind of balance it out. And so I appreciate the advice in here. But yeah, it goes through each of these, talks about each of the section, the avalanche, or some avalanches that can be modeled, a blizzard, etc., Bodak Cave. So giving you tons of different directions to go, some additional encounters, rearranging some things, weather rules, environmental hazards, all that stuff, to really prep you for Curse of Strahd. And Curse of Strahd is like the most popular adventure ever, so if you're a professional DM, this can be even more helpful because you get tired of running it exactly as is every time. So mix it up with this, and $2 for all this goodness is a great price. So check it out under Barovia Gazetteer in the links below. Give it a click. Next we've got Blood War, which is a Pikemaster by J.P. Chaplow and First One's Entertainment. It says the town of Pikemaster needs help. Despite the frequent witch burnings, the problem only seems to get worse. Bandits, dragons, goblins, inquisitors, and witches, a lot of witches, add an aging baron of dubious sanity and his lovely daughter, leaving it up to you to unravel the many threads that take you far beyond Pikemaster. And it's $10 for 147 pages, so it's a lot of pages. And there's a bundle where you can get this book mixed in with some other things for only $12. So just for a couple dollars more, you can get several other books with this. But that's a lot of pages for a campaign, which is great. It's got exploration, investigation, planner, travel that'll take your characters from level 3 to 11. 20 new stat blocks, 12 new magic item, details about the gate city of the Plague Mord and the Outlands, details about the Pagoda Islands Fortress and Avernus, meet and deal with the Demon Lord, and determine the final fate of Pikemaster. So, sounds fun. Let's look inside. So here's your 5-page preview out of the 147. You can see you've got Pikemaster, Heron's Keep, Pagoda Island, Bandit Camp, Plague Mort, Mulgrove, all the different areas, conclusion, and then you've got some appendices, including a whole section of stat blocks and a lot of handouts, which is helpful. So let's read a little bit about Avernian Bliss. The drug known as Avernian Bliss is served in the many dark dens of Dis and other equally vile places. It provides a short respite and relief from the ever-oppressing threats found in the 9 hells. By crushing the petals of blue poppies into waters from the sticks with venom from an imp. Once the mixture has fermented into a wine, the mash is boiled down until only a blue tar-like substance. When burned and inhaled, the smoke gives off pleasant feelings and impressions and an overall feeling of well-being. For an hour after inhaling a dose, you may not use reactions or bonus actions, but have advantage on any death saving throw and gain resistance to fire and poison. After an hour, you return to normal. And it says 1 day after you inhale it, you have to succeed on a con saving throw. and a charisma saving throw, or become poisoned until you inhale another dose. So there's a whole addiction mechanic here. It's interesting though, because this would help you with dealing with the stresses of these planes. So it's a trade-off, and it's interesting that they're working it in here. And even just as a background thing, having people talk about this bliss that they're using, even though maybe the characters are advised not to do it, would be cool too. So, and I like the artwork on the cover. Looks fun. It's a big campaign. So I think this bundle presents a good option for savings. So check it out under Blood War in the links below and give it a click. Next, we've got the Book of Celts from Darren Kinney, $4.95 for 15 pages. Inspired by Irish mythology, history, and culture, the Book of Celts gives you 13 new archetypes straight out of the Emerald Isles. Change the fortunes of a friend and foe with the Luck Domain or Oath of Fortune. Serve the Celtic gods as you walk the path of Danann. Serve Baelor, the Evil Eye, or the spirit of Samhain itself. Dance a Chilai, transform into a Slough or a Fire True as a Finid in this authentic helping of Irish-inspired archetypes. I can't pronounce all those, so sorry for butchering it. But let's take a look inside. So you get to see 14 of those 15 pages. So the whole book, basically, because the cover would be the 15th. And you can see they've got the Path of Danann, Path of the Fomorian for Barbarians, College of the Kalai for Bard, Circle of the Famine for Druid, Oath of Fortune and Rebellion for Paladin, Banshee Bloodline for Sorcerer, and Baelor the Evil Eye for Warlock, among many others. So here's the Path of Danann, and it goes through that, and then you've got Path of the Fomorian. We'll look at one of these in a minute, but yeah, you can look at every single one of them in here and see if any of those are suitable for your campaign, so I always like that. But let's look at the Path of the Fomorian. So at 3rd level, whenever you go into a rage, your body swells, your features twists and distort, and a single runic eye appears on your forehead. You gain the following benefits while raging. Your size increases to large. You gain advantage on intimidation checks. Whenever you roll a critical hit against a creature, it becomes frightened of you for 1 minute. The creature can make a whiz saving throw to end that condition. And then you've got 6th level, the Lord of the Fomorians, Baelor the Evil Eye, grants you the ability to cast his dark magic. You can cast each spell once, regaining the expended uses after a long rest. You unlock new spells detailed at the levels below. So, bringing some spell casting to the Barbarian. And then when you take a short rest, you regain 1 use of your expended Baelor's gifts. And at 18th level, you gain 1d4 uses of your Baelor's gift when you take a short rest. And then the 14th level, when you choose one of your Baelor's Gift spells, you can make a single weapon attack as a bonus action. So, very cool. And that's just one. Look at all these other subclasses with really fun artwork. So yeah, I think if you have any interest in subclasses, even to use this for NPCs, and you want some Irish Celtic flavor to it, this is a really good option for you. So check it out under Book of Celts in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got Creature Crucible 16, Fey Things from Thomas Johnson, $1 for 15 pages. This author basically takes older edition monsters and updates them to 5th edition. So sometimes they're, exactly as is in terms of just converted. Other times there's some interpretations or changes. And you can see everything from the Algoid to the Silver Warrior made it into this issue, and quite a lot of Fey here, which is nice because some of the creature types, when you look at the printed books from Wizards for 5th edition, there just aren't a ton of options. So having these increased options from older editions, especially, is really cool. So everything down to all these different Iraqs, but let's go read about the Iraq in general. The Iraq are a race of Fey that come from a place known as the Shadow Rift. This place is inside the Shadowfell and was at one time part of the domains of Dread. They can sometimes be found in the unseelie court of the Archfays, but most keep to the Shadowfell and to the domains of Dread in particular, where they can torment the denizens of those realms and be a nuisance to the Vistani. So you've got the Alvin Iraq, the Bragg Iraq, and the Murin Arak. So you get 3 different, or Portune, 4 different Arak options, which is nice. But it looks like they also have the Powery, so 5 total. And again, these are conversions. So if you're looking at older books and you're like, man, I wish I had all these, I could still play them. I don't want to have to convert it. This is a good option to get those. So look for it under Creature Crucible 16 in the links below and give it a click. Next we have 𝙤𝙘𝙧𝙧𝙀, Elves of the Feywild Sky, from Wild Witch RP for 99 cents for 6 pages. And it's an elf subrace. Long ago, a spirit of the Feywild Sky imbued Eladrin with the magic of her domain. 3 lines were born: the sun, the twilight, and the stars. Each developed distinctive traits and abilities as they forged new destinies in the Feywild and in worlds beyond. They glow with the intense colors of the horizon and are able to conjure light and energy with their power. You are one of these elves, known as 𝙤𝙘𝙧𝙧𝙀, and have received the blessing of the Sky Song Spirit. It's time to seize your destiny as an elf of the Feywild Sky. So you get the subrace, and then you get feats like Feywild Windstrider, Glittering Twilight, Shooting Stars, Sunset Flare. And yeah, that sounds fun. Definitely fits with a lot of Feywild stuff that's been released. And for Eladrin fans, yeah, I mean, this is really a good option. 6 pages. You get to see 4 of those in the preview. So 𝙤𝙘𝙧𝙧𝙀 here is introduced, and then you get to see basically the whole subrace as well as some of the feats. So no reason not to take a look. And for 99 cents, if you like it at all, this is a really good purchase because you're going to get a lot for the money. So it looks like your skin has a base natural color and a shifting shimmering color, each related to your Sky Song heritage. For example, a sun 𝙤𝙘𝙧𝙧𝙀 might have vibrant orange skin with shimmering magenta twilight, while a twilight 𝙤𝙧𝙧𝙀 might have the rich mauve and lavender. So yeah, each one has different looks based on their heritage, and these are the different heritages that you can pick from. So you get different abilities. So like with the sun heritage, your body is always warm to the touch and protects you from harmful bursts of light. You have resistance to radiant damage, and you have advantage on con checks made to endure intensely cold weather. And then Feylight Shimmer, when you will it, the glow within you becomes incandescent and radiates outward as visible light. You can use an action to cause your body to shed bright light in 10-foot radius and dim light for an additional 10 feet. The light lasts as long until you are incapacitated or killed, or until you choose to end the effect. So that's just the sun one, and then there's twilight and stars as well. And then they got feats here like the Feywild Windstrider. The Sky Song magic within you allows you to move wild and free as the wind. When you take the dash action, you gain a flying speed equal to your walking speed. But you fall if you end your turn in the air and nothing else is holding you aloft. So very cool. Get some temporary flight. Yeah, it seems really fun, flavorful, works with anything to do with Eladrin, works with Feywild stuff, Wild Beyond the Witchlight, or, you know, our book Feywild Companion. Anywhere you've got those things happening, this seems like it would be a good fit. So check it out under 𝙤𝙧𝙧𝙀 Elves in the links below and give it a click. Next we have the Inheritor. It's a hybrid class by Tyler C. with a suggested price of $5 for 24 pages. The steward of a magical item lost to time, or the creator of an artifact yet to become legendary, the Inheritor is a chosen wielder type of adventure. Uniquely suited to the enchantments of magical items, the Inheritor grows alongside their unique artifact. As you unlock the secrets of your artifact, it grows in power, and you likewise become more capable of utilizing the powers implanted in magical items. The Inheritor class is initially comparable to the Artificer, its ability centered around utilizing a unique artifact to the utmost. Subclasses function as a means of mechanical direction, allowing the Inheritor to select their favorite approach to problem solving, including potentially becoming a full caster. As a third tier of customization, the Inheritor creates a unique magical item akin to the Vestiges of Divergence used in Critical Role alongside their character. So you've got 4 subclass options, 4 example artifacts, a comprehensive guide on how to create those artifacts, and a modular artifact builder. So fun stuff. And you get to see the entire book in the preview, which is awesome. So you can really check this out, see if it's going to work for you. Got the quick build, how you get the mystical artifact, So you're basically inheriting this powerful object, and you're restoring it. And then they've got some sample artifacts down here. Sorry, that's not what we're looking at. We're looking at the subclasses. Yeah, you get the subclasses, and then you get to the sample artifacts. So you've got the Keen Light Forge, Force Lance, and then Falloon's Momentous Breastplate. Gosh, I cannot talk today. My apologies. And then each one has Lesser Deed, Greater Deed, Legendary Deed. So that must be like how it kind of changes over time with you as you improve. And then all kinds of deeds, example deeds. Oh, okay, so maybe you have to do a deed to unlock that. And then here's a whole thing on how to build the artifact. That seems really cool. Legendary effects. Yeah, I think this looks pretty thorough. It's even got suggested spells for the artifacts. So let's read a little bit in here. At first level, you begin to benefit directly from wielding your mystical artifact, which grants you its basic abilities and also determines your subclass. Your artifact grants you additional benefits at 7th, 10th, and 15th level. Bestow, while you may be the chosen inheritor of your mystical artifact, that does not mean that you're the only one that can benefit from its power. Starting at 2nd level, you may touch a willing creature as an action to share some of your artifact's power with them. You grant them a mote of power that persists for 1 minute or until used. The mote may be used as a bonus action to evoke the charge ability of your item, one of your item's unique abilities, or cast a spell that you know using one of your spell slots and your spellcasting modifiers. After you use this ability, you must complete a short or long rest before you do so again. So you can give people the ability to cast spells or use the charge effect of your thing. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I like this a lot. I think it's just got a lot of fun ideas to it that you could tweak and make work for your table, or just use as is if you feel like it fits. But I like that you can make artifacts, for your class here. So really cool. I think you should check it out under Inheritor in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we've got Prismeer Improved Random Encounters, and it is $4.99 for 10 pages. It says, elevate your Witchlight campaign to the next level with these alternative improved random encounters. And it comes with 24 brand new professionally designed encounters for your party to experience as they navigate the wild beyond the Witchlight. Also included are 15 beautiful digital maps crafted specifically for the supplement. So that's cool. You get extra, a bunch of extra maps, all for $4.99. And so here you get to see some of the encounters with nice artwork mixed in and good layout. So the Unicorn Merchant. Emerging from the forest ahead is an orc warrior, a great axe slung across his back, his face crisscrossed with scars of many battles. Upon seeing you, he calls out a greeting. Well met, travelers. Can I interest you in a cuddly unicorn? Ghurk, the orc war chief, is posing as a traveling merchant who sells stuffed unicorn toys. He has 3 poorly made toys on him stitched together from squirrel skins and stuffed with leaves. Ghurk actually works for Xerac, an assassin for hire and member of the League of Malevolence. Ghurk will press the party for news of any sightings of real unicorns so he can use them as inspiration for his business. He will also press the party for news of Will of the Feywild and the Getaway Gang, and he wants to capture Will and turn him in for a reward, though he'll claim it is to sell his toys. So, really involved with the story, and there's all these references to Wild Beyond the Witchlight in here as well, so it's nicely woven in. And that's just one. You've got Bickering Boggles, Goblin Druid, Ettercaps, Knotwoods, Clockwork Spiders, and Candy Merchants in these other encounters. And then I really like these maps. You got Hither, Thither, and Yon. You can see how different each of the maps are, and this is just some little snips of them. I'm sure the full maps are even better looking than the little clip we're seeing here. So I think you should look for it under Prismeer Random Encounters in the links below and give it a click. Next, we have Return to Darkling Isle by Scott Eubanks, $3.99 for 36 pages. It says, everyone knows that Darkling Isle is cursed. Anyone who sets foot on it is turned to stone. More than a few foolhardy folk have disappeared in the mist surrounding the island. It used to be the abode of the Weeping Wizard, a lich of astonishing power. That was until he was destroyed 40 years earlier by a band of adventurers. Curiosity Shop owner and retired adventurer Jamina Flintrock will reward anyone brave enough to return to Darkling Isle and search the tower to retrieve the Lich's spellbook and phylactery. Unfortunately, there isn't just one tower, but two, one in the material plane and another in the Shadowfell. The truth is, the previous adventurers only conquered some of Darkling Isle's defenses, and there's a reason to believe that the Weaving Wizard isn't entirely gone. So it's a 36-page adventure for 4 to 6 level 5th level characters, and includes 13 maps, 3 unique puzzles, 5 new monsters and NPCs, as well as 2 magic items. And like I said, it's $3.99 for those 36 pages. So looking inside, you get to see 7 of them. And yeah, you've got your intro, the tower, the Shadowfell section, and final confrontation, and then all your handouts and magic items and maps. Lots of maps, which is good. I love the artwork in here as well. So here's your intro, return, all kinds of stuff. And I love that the NPCs have those personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. Really helpful. Yep, and then you've got all your descriptions, mirror command words. Nice. That sounds like a fun thing to have. All right, let's look at the flavor text for the first one so we can avoid spoilers here. It says, near the quay, a substantial 3-story stone building overgrown with pale blue ivy hugs the avenue. Over the arched double doors, a sign hangs from a post jutting into the street. On a wooded placard, a blue bird and a yellow bee are carved into it. On the street level, a series of window displays containing the following: a glass cabinet of labeled trinkets, a litter of blink dogs nursing from their mother, a sword made of honey-colored glass embedded in a bear skull the size of a piano, and an enormous fish tank with mechanical octopus unfurling and furling in circles. So that's very visual. I like a lot of those things at the Bird and the Bee. So the Bird and the Bee seems to be a little store or shop that you have. And then there was a previous adventure, I guess, that connects to this, so you can use that or not. But yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. Love the artwork, love the concept, and that it involves the Shadowfell as well. So check it out under Return to Darkling Isle in the links below and give it a click. Next, we have Revenge of the Inadequate Wizard. It's an adventure for 3 to 5 characters of level 11 from the DM Conclave, $4.95 for 34 pages. In the once peaceful town of Zorhun, gruesome murders have disturbed the tranquility of its inhabitants. The town's council bids heroes assist with the investigation, without being aware of the sinister dealings of some of its own people. The adventurers will have to complete a crime scene investigation within the city to eventually begin discovering clues that will lead them to the nearby Orsron Mountains, only to discover that the situation is a lot more complicated than initially expected. They will have to find out the truth of the disagreement between the members of Hidden Temple of Earth Lord Gurumbar and a bitter, estranged wizard and his malevolent experiments. It will be up to the heroes to decide what happens next, be it resolving the situation with diplomacy or with blood. So you get several versions of HD digital maps that you can use for VTT, a new legendary artifact, 3 new NPC types that comprise the clergy of Gurumbar, the elemental lord of earth, a new high CR creature that will ooze terror, DM info and NPC info sections, enhanced random encounter table, plot hooks, music recommendations, and even Forgotten Realms lore. So that's helpful. And you get 7 of the 34 pages in the preview to look at, including some DM tips and rewards by the creators, as well as you see it's broken into these different chapters. So it looks like the adventure is 3 chapters, and then you've got appendices for music references, handouts, monsters, NPCs, and maps and magic items. So good stuff. Here's your chapter 1. Get that first little flavor text that we're going to read for you in a second, and then you got some victims. Yeah, so you get to see a little bit of chapter 1, which is helpful. So let's read about the flavor text here. A small city with no walls makes its appearance as you travel along the Great Halandar Road. Beautiful houses that vary in style and architecture seem to meld seamlessly into the valley surrounding them. Delicate elven structures with intricate lines and natural shapes next to strict stone buildings with warm earthen tones. The variety of elves and gnomes is surprising as you realize that even dark elves and deep gnomes are present among the craftsmen and traders of almost every kind. As you walk past, you notice that beautifully colored chalk marks, varying from 1 to 3, decorate the residents' foreheads. The townsfolk look upon you with interest, and the traders offer their wares with pleasure as you make your way to the city's council building. So interesting. I wonder why they have the chalk marks. So it'll be something for the players to investigate and discover as they spend time in this location. But I like the layout and the artwork. It looks like it could be a lot of fun. So check it out under Revenge of the Inadequate Wizard in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we got Tessa presents 113 maps for Curse of Strahd. So Tessa Moorcraft is a artist, and Tessa presents all kinds of maps for various Wizards products on here, and this one happens to be for Curse of Strahd, and you get 113 different ones. There's tabloid size, letter size, JPEG, with grid, without grid, VTT, even dungeon draft, map, and asset files. And that's really cool to have asset files. So the maps are complete, detailed, specific, versatile, and usable on your tabletop. So here's 12 of them, and you can see quite a variety. And I see a lot of reusability in these. I mean, this could be any kind of shrine, monument or something out in a crossing, somewhere, or clearing in the woods. But let's look inside. So you get to see all the pages. It's already a best copper seller too, 257 pages. So you got tons of maps. Look at all these maps. There's the thumbnails of all of them. I mean, just so much. If you're trying to run Curse of Strahd, I mean, look at that. That's just so many. And you can join them together with the roads, have them travel from one map right into the next map, just really show where everything's going on. And they're labeled, Blinsky's Toys, Town Square, Arisek Stockyard. So if you want to use them for Curse of Strahd, then you really have that option because they're all nice, cleanly labeled. I mean, that's underestimated. When you think about buying packs like this, is how are they organized? Am I going to have to rename all the files, or has the author really done a good job naming them? It looks like the names are pretty good. You've got this stone bridge here, so it's definitely something to think about with map packs. Certainly for me, like if I bought a map pack and it was disorganized, I might not buy from them again because I think that's a hassle that's unnecessary. And so this looks like it's pretty organized and nice. I appreciate that. And look at the little fire here. It says encounter field long rest. So even encounters are covered. You've got lots of things going on. Encounter field road, windmill. So even if you don't use every encounter in the book, you're going to have maps that you can use if you eventually do run it again, or maybe use them in another adventure. So tons and tons of stuff in here. What was the price again? $11.99 for 113 maps. So really good price for that many maps for VTT with options. So I think you should check it out under Tessa Presents 113 Maps and give it a click. Next, we have Thay, Land of the Red Wizards by Ed Greenwood, Alex Kammer, and Alan Patrick. And it is already a best gold seller, and it's $17.99 for the PDF, $39.99 for the hardcover, or the combo is $48.93, and it's 108 pages. And, Ed Greenwood is the creator of Forgotten Realms. So to have Ed writing about the Forgotten Realms in a book, a brand new book, is really exciting because that means you're going to be getting it straight from the creator. So that's about as official as you can get outside of it being published by, Wizards themselves. So really, really important work to consider when you think about the Forgotten Realms because, again, Ed created it. So if Ed is writing about a region, it's coming from that same source as the original books and the continued books in the series. And you can see there's beautiful, beautiful artwork. And it says, known to the wider Forgotten Realms as a sinister land of red wizards, slavers, and marching undead armies, 𝘏 is the distant or uncomfortably close menace that may become our doom if 𝘏𝙬𝙗 turns his attention in our direction. So yeah, it's nice that you have this region that is out there that's really a threat if unchecked. And 𝘏 is that, but is also much more. A truly magical land, thanks to the secret that even the goddess Mystra helps to keep, of rich culture, a rising middle class, ambitious nobles, and red wizards who fear 𝘏𝙬𝙗 more than they hate him, but may soon be forced to defy him, and wealth beyond the imaginings of even wealthy and proud realms elsewhere. It says this tome is your guide to 𝘏 of right now, a valuable resource for DMs and players alike. It sets forth the peoples and places of the land of red wizards, what life is like, and seeds and hints and secrets sufficient to spur adventures for years of enjoyment at your gaming table. So I like that because, 𝘏 has been talked about in past editions, right? But this is like the present 𝘏. What's it like? What's going on? And I like that it's complicated. It's not just, oh, well, that's a land that's a threat, and there's this, 𝘏𝙬𝙗. No, there's all kinds of stuff, potential maybe of people uprising against 𝘏𝙬𝙗. There's secrets, there's culture, so lots to discover and explore and to come up with campaigns. This is really, like, if you're a DM that likes to craft your own adventures and your own campaigns, being able to really dig into this and understand all this culture going on is a really good backdrop. Unfortunately, the full-size preview is broken, so we can't look at that, but look at the stunning map inside. And of course the artwork is beautiful. This is, you've got the content creator from the original, Forgotten Realms, as well as beautiful artwork. This is a can't miss book. And I definitely want to get the combo at some point. It's really nice. I love this cover so much. I love the concept. I think the red wizards are really fun. And I'm just excited that this is out there for all of you to enjoy. So I hope you look for it in our video description links under 𝘏, Land of the Red Wizards. Give it a click and a purchase. Next we have Trainer, a martial archetype from GMBF Homebrew, $2.99 for, it doesn't say how many pages, but it says, become a fighter with the ability to pass your knowledge to others, improving the techniques of your allies and coordinating attack sequences to defeat your enemies. You get a brand new fighter subclass with 6 powerful and flavorful features. Train your party every day to provide them with bonuses and activate elaborate attack sequences with your trainees to overcome any obstacle. Plus you have 5 new magic items created just for the subclass. And it looks like a nice layout, but let's look inside as well. And yeah, so you've got the subclass basically here that you can read, and then you've got the magic items. So you're getting to see the majority of the work here. So it's a martial archetype, and it says, beginning at 3rd level, you start developing your abilities as a teacher. By spending at least 1 hour in training with a willing, intelligent creature, you can start a training regiment with it, making it your trainee and providing it with one of the following temporary bonuses. So if you do skill training, the trainee gains proficiency in one skill that you are proficient with. Weapon training, the trainee gains proficiency in all weapons you are also proficient with. It also deals an extra 1d4 damage with their melee and ranged weapon attacks. This effect can trigger only once per turn, and that's just 2 of the 4. It says when you start your journey as a trainee, you can only have 1 concurrent trainee benefiting from this feature, but you increase the number of trainees at 7th, 10th, and 15th level, and you can switch trainees when you perform a long rest. So you can change who's getting the benefits in your party, and then, like I said, when you get to the 7th level, you're going to be able to double that, and so you have 2 that are getting benefits, and eventually, if you get to 15th, there's going to be 4 members of your party, and if there's a 5-member party, you're the 5th one, right? That means everybody's going to be benefiting from one of your trainings. And then as you go up, you can trigger a coordinated sequence of movements in combat with one of your trainees, providing them with the opportunity to attack or reposition. As a bonus action, one of your trainees that can see or hear you within 60 feet can immediately use their reaction to perform one weapon attack or move up their maximum movement speed without triggering attacks of opportunity. If the attack hits, it deals extra damage equal to your proficiency modifier. You can use this feature a number of times per day equal to your constitution modifier. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. At 7th level, you choose one of your skill proficiencies. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make. Very cool. So lots of fun abilities and some magic items. Yeah, if you want something that's more of like a combine with others gestalt situation, I think this could be really fun, especially for fighters. So check it out under trainer in the links below and give it a click. Next, we have Uncaged Goddesses. With this truly stunning cover. It just glows. I love the look of it. And it's, there's been this Uncaged series, and I think this, is a really cool addition to that series. It's by the Uncaged authors, but there's a lot of people involved, including the artist who did the cover of the Feywild Companion. So those of you who bought that book, the artist for that, 𝙤𝙤 𝙤𝙪𝙧𝙚 is involved in this as well, so it's exciting. And I've already purchased my bundle because it's just such a cool book. It's PDF $19.99. You can get the hardcover for $41.68, or for the same price you can get both. That's what I got. I got the hardcover plus the PDF, so I'm excited to get that in my hands. And I love getting hardcovers and looking through those. And yeah, it's really cool. So you get all these files. You get pre-gen characters, printer-friendly screen reader maps and stuff, which is cool. It's 297 pages, so it's a lot of pages. And it says, discover the motivations behind the goddesses of Dungeons & Dragons' rich history and Uncaged Goddesses, an epic collection of Tier 4 adventures spanning the multiverse. So that's really good. I mean, we don't get a lot of Tier 4 stuff, and especially official Tier 4 stuff. So to have a whole 297 page book with Tier 4 is really helpful, because if you're going to let your table get that high in levels, you need content, right? And so this is going to give you 21 different adventures for that price. So and those adventures could be multiple sessions each even, right? So you could really get many, many hours of play out of this. You get 27 new stat blocks, 100 plus pieces of custom artwork, 15 maps, advice for running Tier 4, which I think is good because a lot of DMs haven't, gone there. 8 pre-generated Tier 4 characters, so you could start at Tier 4 if you want, which might be a fun change. If you've never done Tier 4 or you rarely do Tier 4, why not start there for a change and just to kind of see how it goes. And then you get, all these extra PDFs as we talked about, and just look at how gorgeous the layout is and the artwork. Love the artists. There's a ton of artists. As I said, the Feywild Companion's cover artist, 𝙤𝙤 𝙤𝙪𝙧𝙚, is in the mix here, and did the cover for this one as well. And I really think that's good. I think 𝙤𝙤 does great work, and so I'm excited to see more of it out there for you to enjoy. And let's take a look inside at the preview. So you get 21 pages of the 297 to look at here. And yeah, you've got things separated into sort of domains, so based on the gods, right? So the Tempest domain, you've got Oral and Umberlee, and then there's the adventures related to those goddesses, and then you go through the other domains, and then even beyond Favorite, they've got some other ones like Mother Night and Farika, and then there's a whole forward introduction, and then you get into the guide to running Tier 4, and then you move right into that first adventure, Winter's Morning, which I think is cool. And look at all these little engravings. I love that they depict the engravings here for you to see. They've got a magical weather table, just fun stuff. And here's one of the maps. These are not just like, oh, here's a one-page adventure, right? This is like a whole deal. This is a whole adventure. You get everything you need for it, including your stat blocks, and then it goes right into the next adventure. So this preview is not only giving you the intro stuff, but it's giving you that whole first adventure here, written by Laurie O'Connell, and it's recommended for level 17. So it says a band of heroes is drawn to Icewind Dale following rumors of strange magic and terrible deeds. Auril, the cruel goddess of winter, has been driven to desperate acts by a death of her daughter, Nalkara. As Auril pursues brutal blood rituals to resurrect her loved one, the quest begins when one of Auril's oathsmen convinces her to enlist the characters in pursuing a less bloody solution. And it says, word of Auril's bloodthirstiness spreads across the world like frost on spring's first crop. Citizens are fleeing Icewind Dale, braving the dangerous journey through the ice-filled sea or over the blizzard-torn mountains. They cannot pay the characters for their services. Still, they beg for aid. Less than a week ago, Auril visited the town of Caer Konig. The survivors asked the characters to investigate the now ruined town and find out what became of those they left behind. It says this adventure is specifically set in Icewind Dale, but if that doesn't suit your campaign, any frozen area can be made to work. If Rime of the Frost Maiden has been completed, treat Auril's encountered physical incarnations as her less powerful avatars. So I like that you know, because you could ask, how does this connect with Rime of the Frost Maiden? So they've covered that here to figure out, you know, help you figure out how you want to bring that in. But you can see the goddesses are definitely involved. You know, sometimes there'll be a book with the name goddess in the title or whatever, and then there's no gods, right? This definitely is involving you. You're hearing all about Auril and Nalkara here. And then you've got your cast of characters, including Auril, and going right into chapter 1 and these cool tablets that you find. So let's look what we can read a little bit further, because I want to give you a little bit more taste of this, because I do think it's significant work that you really should consider adding to your collection. So let's see. It says the Ithran Mythalar, arcane power of the ancients. Mythalar are glowing spears of pure magical energy which kept the floating cities of Netheril aloft. A successful arcana check reveals that these Mythalars are products of decades of labor by Netheril's most powerful archmages and are capable of powering magical rituals which break the normal boundaries of magic. The Mythalar can be teleported as per the spell, but only by a creature attuned to it. Alternatively, an attuned creature can move the Mythalar as allowed in the item's description. And then there's a whole puzzle that has to be solved. And you got the Hall of the Fosterlings. And then look at this map. I mean, the details in this map, they have a really good map artist for this as well. And then here, let's read this Hatira's Sanctum. You enter a large open room lined with bookshelves and piled floor to ceiling with ancient tomes. Stairs lead up to a slight dais where a large cluttered desk is illuminated by green light streaming in from a broken stained glass window. At the desk, a stout, bespectacled woman covered in golden jewelry and dressed in a mage's robes looks up and angrily hushes you. Can't you see I'm working on something? Be quiet and return to your own studies. So, immediately you meet this Hatera Octavia, the librarian. And I won't reveal any more because I don't want to spoil it, but it looks cool. And then you've got this whole ritual down here that has to be done with DCs and everything. I mean, this is not just throw it together, one-page adventures. This is like some full detail. You get these stat blocks. You've got a CR14 stat block in here of a swarm of animated tomes, and then a CR13 giant, and a CR5 living big baby's hand. So you're getting all these stat blocks, you're getting all these maps, you're getting all this lore. I mean, what more could you ask for? And it's best Electrum, like literally overnight. I think it was 12 hours it went Electrum. You know, that's 250 copies sold. That's huge. So don't miss it. You gotta add this to your collection, and please use the link below for Uncaged Goddesses. Next, we have Wondrous Subclasses, exciting new subclasses for all D&D 5th edition character classes, and it's got 26 of them. So you can have everything from artificers, barbarians, all the way to wizards, including things like the Ring Adept for Artificer, which sounds really cool, the Journey Domain for Cleric, the Way of the Demon Vessel for the Monk, the Bounty Hunter for the Ranger, the Crone for the Warlock, and the Sigil Master for the Wizard. So fun stuff. 29 pages, $4.99. And you get to see 7 of those pages in the preview. You can see the list again of all the different ones. And then as you go through, lots of nice artwork, very wizard style layout, which is helpful. College of Duplicity sounds fun as well for the bards. So, but I'm intrigued by this Ring Adept. So it says artificers that become ring adepts have mastered the art of storing the energy of their spells in special rings known as vessels. This can allow them to have tremendous reservoir of eldritch energy at their fingertips. However, if they deplete these reserves, it can take several days to replenish them. So you get certain spells that are prepared, and then bonus proficiencies. When you choose this archetype at 3rd level, you gain proficiency with jeweler's tools, and then you prepare the vessel at 3rd level. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch one non-magical ring that you're wearing and that is not currently storing any spells. You store a spell in it as allowed by one of your spell storing ring features. This is now known as a vessel. You may only prepare one such vessel after each long rest, and you may have no more than one vessel of each spell prepared. These vessels do not require attunement and do not prevent you from wearing other magical rings. So that is really nice for, you can have multiple rings going on, and you don't have to worry about attunement. And then you've got the spell storing rings all the way up to the 3rd level of that. It says you can store a 3rd level spell from the Artificer Ring or Ring Adept spell list. The vessel gains a number of charges equal to your proficiency bonus, and you may expend one of those charges to cast a spell stored within. This does not require any material, somatic, or rollable components. When no charges remain, the ring no longer counts as a vessel. So very fun. And that's just one. That was just the Ring Adept, and then you've got Shadowgrafter and a bunch of others that you can read here, including a little bit of the College of Duplicity. So I urge you to come check it out and read for yourself to see if any of these Wondrous Subclasses will work for you. It's in the video description links under Wondrous Subclasses. Give it a click. All right, now it's time to reveal what our discount's going to be next week, and it's going to be a discount on Allies and Antagonists, this huge book of NPCs from Grimm Press. And I'm really excited for you because it's normally $29.99, but with our exclusive discount on Monday at 10 a.m. MST, you will get money off of that. So you can save some funds, get a lot of NPCs. It's it's a really cool book. It's got all kinds of challenge ratings all the way up to 20 here in terms of NPCs that you can evolve. Magic items for some of them. It's hyperlinked. It's over 200 pages. Art for all of these NPCs. And look at how beautiful the artwork is with their stat blocks and the full description here of the NPC. So it's really, really nice. I think, who doesn't need NPCs? You just never know when an NPC is going to need to stroll onto the scene in your campaign, your one-shot, whatever. So having a 200-page book, 200-plus page book with 100 NPCs that's just invaluable, because you look at all the CR ratings from 1 to 20, so you can bring in any kind. They can be allies, they can be antagonists, like the title says, and you're going to be able to get all of this for cheaper than the full price. So make sure you're following at Splinterverse on all the social media channels so you can get access to those Monday exclusive discounts. These discounts aren't going to be anywhere else. They're just going to be on Splinterverse Media. This is something we're trying to do for you, and it gives us an opportunity to promote some books that are not new releases as well. So it's a win-win for everybody. So please follow on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you are social. And that's the last book for this week. Please subscribe to the channel, like the videos, share the video out there. We're very close to getting monetized. We need less than 100 hours watched, so hopefully you guys can watch the full video or, get some friends to watch or something to help us get to that monetization, because that's also going to help us make more books and content for you. And speaking of books and content, check out all those links in the video description. These creators have worked so hard to make all these books with their blood, sweat, and tears, and it's very hard to make profit on it. So please support them by purchasing those books. And if you click any of the links in the video description and purchase anything, you are going to help the channel too with a little bit of that affiliate fee. And then we've got our 5 books that we released in 2021 and more on the way. I'm working on a number of books right now. And we've got Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, which is a gold bestseller covering all sorts of dragon-themed goodness, everything from adventure hooks, spells, magic items, Hoard magic items, a familiar subclasses, all dragon-themed, perfect for any campaign, is available. And then we've got the Feywild Companion, now available in print. It's a platinum best-selling book with 79 tokens, maps, all kinds of good stuff for players and DMs, and Feywild fun galore. Then we've got Van Richten's Library of Lineages, which helps you deal with lineages now that they're a new concept, as well as giving you 4 really conflict-driven lineages that you can use in any setting. And then we've got Secrets of the Draugr, which takes you into a new race. It's a combination of the Dwargar and the Drow. And it's got a very unique spin on it, which is nice with the changes of Drow being not 100% dark. I think it fits really well. It's got fortune telling and deities as well in that book and beautiful art. And then we have Potions Unlocked, which has a print on demand option with short stories for each of its potions, vendors, maps, spells, all kinds of goodness, even plants to add to your campaign. And I'll tell you, some of the places and characters in the stories are going to make appearances later in Splinterverse Media books. So reading those, getting those stories into your head and the lore is going to pay off later. And if you read all the stories of the potions in that book, they kind of weave together. There's some recurring places and people. So it's kind of a cool little cinematic universe almost. So I hope you check that out and let me know what you think. And leave us comments. We want to hear what books you're liking, or questions you have, or anything you want to share with us, and we will respond. And I thank you so much for watching, supporting the channel, supporting these great creators. To all the creators out there, keep going, keep creating. I'm excited to see what you do next. Don't stop. You got this. And until next time, happy adventuring.